Alright, so hello everybody. So today I'm going to review my high-grade 144 scale MS06S ZAKU 2 Principality of Zeon Char's customized mobile suit. So here he is right here. So he's a plastic model that's snapped together. It's made by Bandai. And here he is. He's pretty cool. I'm going to review him. He's a 2002 model. And he's a Char's customized mobile suit. So Char is the name of the pilot. The spelling is Char, and sometimes I call it Char instead of Char. But, you know, he reminds me of the planet Char. You know, the place where the Decepticons got exiled to after the 1986 movie. But anyways, yeah. So I'm gonna review this guy today and hope y'all enjoy. So here he is, snapped together. I'm gonna like talk you through his different accessories and his different components. But for now, I'm just gonna show you the figure. He's a 144 scale, high grade, and he's pretty cool. This is the 2002 ZAKU, so he's a snap together model. So I snapped him together and did some panel lining, like the stuff on his tubes, and he's a pretty good figure. So I'm gonna show you the articulation he has. Well, his head can turn around like this. And you could pop it off. It's sort of in this ball joint. There it is. He can do the full 360. Now he's got this cool shield. The shield's also on the ball joint, if you could see that. So you could kind of angle it and tilt it. So it's pretty cool. And then his arm can do the full 360, and you can also spread it out up to this far. His shield sort of impedes it, but you know, you could angle the shield that way, and you can spread it that far. And then you could twist around his bicep. So, whoop, you can also do that. He's got a single joint in his elbow. For that, you can twist his wrists and you can pop off the hands. I'll show you why later, but you can pop it off. He's got swappable hands. Doesn't really have any articulation in the waist. This little flaps can sort of move a bit. Whoop, they can sort of, yeah, get some little movement of those. Now let's go to the legs. As for his legs, there, he can do the splits, but not so much. It's also sort of in a ball joint, but it's impeded by this, and it's impeded by, you know, the curve on the top of his thigh. But you know, you could get him to split up to this much. He can kick all the way forward like this, all the way back like this, there, all the way back, all the way forward. So he could do those. Then he's got a joint in his knee, so he could bend his knee this much. Not that bad. There, let's get that camera focus. There. And he's also got this panel here, so he could raise it up by this much, his little skirt. That's to help him kick forward a little bit. Back here, well, he's got this on his butt flap. That's a little latch, so you could hang on his accessories. I'll show that to you later. Oh, actually, I'll show that to you now. You could hang his little bazooka over there in the back. He comes with a little bazooka, so let's just put it in nicely there. So it's kind of sort of for storage for that bazooka. So there you go, fits in right there. And of course his feet have some articulation too. We can take a look. Whoop. He can extend sort of like that and swivel out, which is pretty cool. I guess it helps him in, you know, to do some poses or something. But yeah, he's got that. So those are the articulation on his feet. So overall, it's a nice figure. For me, it's a simple figure. It's one of those it's one of those simpler high grades. It only had like 3 frames and 1 foil sticker, which is his eye. And speaking of the eye, you could actually move it around. I could kind of move it if I get an earbud in there, or if I take apart the head, I could move that part to make his eye turn around. But for me, it looks good the way it is, front and center. And I almost forgot the spike. It has this joint over here, so you could tilt it like that. Whoop, up, down. So he can do that one as well. So what I like about this guy, before I get to his accessories, is I like his color. He's sort of ceramic red, or orange red, but he looks kind of ceramic red. But it looks good. It looks good. I like the fact it looks like a pot, like pottery. So this little high grade is pretty good for me. I had fun building him. So now on to his weapons. This is his little machine gun, or his ZAKU machine gun, as they call it. I mean, he's a ZAKU 2 after all. So it kind of looks like a Tommy gun. It came, you know, I sort of painted this one, so you can see I used some of my, I don't know if the camera sees it, but the scope, I painted it red. It's got this little handle, which I'll show you later, what it's for, and it's got this. Incidentally, there's this another joint I forgot to show you, which I'll show you now. He's got this. Let's take a quick look. There. His arms can do this. And it's so that he can hold that gun in a cool way, which I shall show you later when I mount the gun. But yeah, kind of like a butterfly. There we go. So, well, now that we're here, I'll show you how he holds his gun. The nice thing about these figures is you could pop out their hands. So I'm going to pop out this guy's hand. I'm going to slide in this gun over here. And there. Now you got him holding his little machine gun. Now the beauty of those joints a while ago is you could angle the gun like this up front and make him hold that gun like that. So he sort of holds it like in the cartoon show. And if you notice, the articulation is just enough to, you know, looks pretty cool. He's like there, he's like in the middle of a battlefield and he's like taking aim, he's going like that, or you could pretend you're flying him around. In the show, you know, these are mobile suits, so they're flying a lot of times they're flying in space, so firing like that. So as you can see, that joint, that butterfly joint really comes in handy for him to hold the gun nicely. I like the way he holds the gun. Incidentally, this is a ZAKU machine gun, so it uses rounds. So that's that accessory. Next up, we have his ZAKU bazooka. So he comes with a bazooka right there. So same thing. Let me just see if the camera, I can get the camera and working there. I sort of painted the scope. So there, it's a little bit of a red in the scope, but it's got this joint. So you could turn around that scope up, down, and this is the handle. So I'll be showing you how to mount this thing on him, but that is his bazooka. It looks pretty cool. Little exhaust ports in the back, a scope, nice handle, and this nice, another handle to help him hold it. So I'm going to show you how he holds his bazooka, because in the show he sometimes goes bazooka mode. So these are the hands, the hand halves. So you put the bazooka this way, put that one in, put this one in here, and then you put the trigger finger here. And you got him holding the bazooka. So I pop the hand off, I can pop it back in. Let's try to give him a good angle for his bazooka. And there. And there. It's in. You stick this one out, and just like with the Tommy gun, you can make him hold the bazooka this way. So it's up to you how you wanna pose that bazooka, but you could make him go like this, like he's sort of bracing himself and about to fire his bazooka. So in the show, these ZAKUs usually have either their machine guns or their bazookas. And that looks pretty cool, actually. He kind of looks like a little red Rambo aiming his gun, making his bazooka. So you could get him on some nice poses. He's kind of like that, getting ready to do battle. So there he is. Not bad at all. Then you could kind of adjust the sight, because he's standing. You can imagine he's looking through it, and there he is. Looks like he's getting ready to shoot something. He'll shoot some giant spaceships in the sky. But that looks pretty good. So that's his ZAKU bazooka. Now his third and final weapon / accessory is this. This is his Heat Hawk, which is essentially an axe. Now when this thing came in, it came in, I don't know if you see the color here, but it came in color gray plastic from the frame. But I decided to paint it. So I had some red marker lying around, but it ended up looking brown. But I kind of like the look that it's brown. So I painted the yellow part, and I also painted the dark red parts, which look kind of brown here. But anyways, this Heat Hawk is sort of, I guess it's called Heat Hawk because it's supposed to be a tomahawk, like an axe. And this one fits nicely right here on his hand. You can just slide it in here. So he could hold it like this. So, you know, again, the butterfly joints come in handy because you can put him on axe murderer mode. So you could make him hold it like that, kind of like in double, like it's about to hack someone. So I like this. I like the Heat Hawk weapon. I'll give you a quick rundown on the Gundam story to catch up to speed, but that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. It's like, you know, it's like the red comet with a hatchet getting ready to hack you. So there are many ways you can pose it, but for me, I just showed you that, you know, you could pose it like this. Kind of like chopping a tree, chopping down enemy. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that's a good shot of him with his heat hawk. So as mentioned, he does have extra hands. So I'm just gonna show him to you again. Right now he's got these two hands on, his little fists. Fist hands are on him. And he's got this right trigger finger, which you could attach to the guns or bazooka already. So that's his right trigger finger. You can attach it to the ball socket over there. And he's got a left trigger finger, in case you want to make him a lefty. It's up to you. When I'm not using these, I keep them in a little Ziploc bag, so I won't lose them. For here is his box. So as you can see, it's MS06S ZAKU 2 Principality of Zeon Char's custom. I'll get in a bit of who Char is, but you know, some of you, yeah. For you existing Gundam fans, you know who Char is. So let's take quick some time to appreciate the box. There it is. So just like the instruction manual, you got some of the specs over here, his weight, his height, and his generator output. I don't know how to interpret that, but yeah. And his armaments. Well, the machine gun, the bazooka, and the heat hawk. And we also got a picture of him here, sort of kicking Granddaddy in the nuts. That looks like an intentional kick to the nuts, but anyway, yeah. Looks pretty cool, but yeah, it's a low blow right there. And here's some nice box art of him. Very nice, holding his machine gun, which kind of reminds me of a high-tech Tommy gun. And when you look down here, Bandai 2002. This one was made in Japan, so... I mean, this one was made in 2002, that's what I meant to say. So he's an older kit, but you know, I still got him because I think it looks cool. I can't read these, but I'm sure it says some pretty insightful stuff. But here he is in the box art, looking nice and shiny, front view and side view. Here's on this side another nice picture in the 032 Universal Century. And more of him holding, and more options. So that's him holding his various weapons. That's him clipping that bazooka in his butt. Ah, the heat hawk. I like that hatchet. And you can, as mentioned, you can move his eye. Just pop open his head and you can slide that eye left or right. More words. So anyways, he is part of the high-grade Universal Century line. So I'll just give you a quick rundown on Gundam. So, you know, you might be wondering what Universal Century means. Just think about it like a timeline. It's like in real life, we got AD, BC, BCE. It's like a timeline. So this guy is from the original show that came out in the 1980, I think, long time ago. And well, it's under the premise that, let's bring him out while I tell his story. It's under the premise that you know, most of us have the Earth is like super polluted and overpopulated, I guess. So, you know, humans have decided to colonize space. So they made all kinds of these cool space colonies, which look like ginormous satellites. And inside those satellites, there are, you know, what do you call that? It has its own atmosphere, it has its own gravity. And one of these satellites, let's go back. So one of these satellites is called the Principality of Zeon. Now these guys are pretty nepotistic. It's like their father is the overall leader. The eldest son and the daughter are admirals or generals, yeah. And the youngest son's like a captain. And there's another guy. I think there are four children, yeah. Anyways, these guys decided to declare a war on Earth. A war of independence, which lasted a year. So I guess they call it the 1-year war. And they were having the upper hand because they had these mobile suits. So this is a ZAKU 2. And this is my first grade ZAKU 2. He came unpainted, so I painted him. Limited joints, but he's pretty fun to paint. I digress. But anyways, yeah, these guys gave the Principality of Zeon guys an edge over the Earth Force, or the Earth Federation. So, as mentioned, these Zeon guys are sort of authoritarian and nepotistic. And these mobile suits they had, called the ZAKUs, they were kicking the asses of the Earth Federation's tanks, which had two, you know, double-barreled tanks. Yeah, they were no match. So everything was like going these guys' way. They were like beating the crap out of the Zeon until the Gundam came along, and pretty much these guys were like paper. They were getting ripped through. Now, among these Zeon forces was this guy. This guy was, well, Captain Char Aznable was piloting this. So he's this great ace pilot. He wears a mask. He has a great laugh. But, you know, his name is Char Aznable, but he's not really Char Aznable, because it turns out he's actually a guy who's taking the identity of Char Aznable, but he's got a grudge against the Zabi family because they wronged his family. I think his real name is Casval. Casval, forgot his last name, but yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue, but his name is Casval, and he's a really cool pilot, and everything he pilots has to be color red. So his version of the Zaku is this one. Pilots this red custom Zaku, so that's why the set's called Char's Custom. So he's a really, really good pilot, you know, like an ace, and he goes flying over here. So he fights the Gundam. And he's sort of like the antagonist, but you know, he's not really on the side of Zeon because he has his own agenda, which is to get revenge on the Zabi family, which he ultimately does in the end. It's pretty cool.
Hey Garma, do you read me? Blame this on the misfortune of your birth. What? Char, you double-crossed me, Char!
Pretty cool. And he's a pretty nice character all around, and this is one of his mobile suits, so he's got a lot. This is his version of the Zaku. It's a commander type, just so it has this crest. But he pilots a whole bunch of other robots, mobile suits I mean, but they're usually decked out in red, usually. So that's a quick rundown of the Gundam franchise. And also, by the way, I think Char will eventually be like a new type. New type is like they got precognitive and telepathic powers. They're kind of like Jedi, but they don't move things with their minds. But they could like their mental powers are so good that their reflexes are faster, so they're a lot better pilots. Now the Gundam's pilot, he really is a new type. But I think, yeah, Char eventually was discovered to be a new type too. But yeah, that's more or less a rundown of the whole Gundam. This here is the manual it came with. So let's take a quick look at the stuff written on it. Char's customized mobile suit. So it's got a lot of nice tidbits of facts over here. So in real life, this guy is 17.5 meters. I think that's around 60 feet, almost 60 feet. He's 56.2 tons, total weight of 74.5 tons. I reckon that's when he has all of his attachments on, like his bazooka and all. He's made of super hard steel alloy, yeah, until the Gundam came along and he was being chopped up like paper. So he comes with a Zaku machine gun, Zaku bazooka, and a heat hawk. So there it is, Universal Century. When we open it up, we get to see some nice facts. Unfortunately, I can't read these, but yeah, a nice pic of him kicking the RX-78 granddaddy in the nuts. It really looks like he's kicking him in the nuts. And there it is, nice artwork over there, little technical diagrams, and the actual instructions. So not too many runners, A, B, C, and then the polycaps at the end. 144 scale, there it is. It wasn't really too hard to build them. There, little idea of how to build this guy. And the last part when you put them all together. So yeah, that's the manual that he came with. And at the back page of it, you get to see these nice little images of him posing. Beautiful. And color suggestions. So some of his stuff were not painted, like his axe. Like here it's painted sort of pink. I had some pink or red. I had some metallic red, but he turned out looking brown. My heat hawk turned out looking brown after I painted it, but it still looks good, not bad. So there it is, that's the manual. My final thoughts on this figure is, though it's a simpler high grade, it was fun to build. Didn't take me too long to build it. I like to build my Gundams in, well, before I used to build them straight, but I like to build them in spurts, or, in segments. Like I do an arm before breakfast, I do another arm after breakfast, I do the body after lunch. You know, I take breaks because I want to enjoy the process and not rush myself. And just the process of building this guy was fun because he was pretty simple. As I mentioned, it's only 3 runners. I mean, ABC. You know, some Gundams out there, especially the master grades, they can go up to A to O or higher, and you know, when you're halfway up the alphabet, you know it's gonna take long. Now overall, this kit looks good for me. I love it. I like his color. I like the ceramic red color, and I like the way this guy looks with my other first grade Zakus. They look good as a gang. So what I like this is when I have this, I got Char. Char's riding around with his posse and he's going Gundam hunting, and it looks like he means business when he has his buddies with him. So there, I got this high grade because he looks good with my painted first grades, and they look like a posse ready to cause trouble. So overall, I really like this set, and yeah, those are my final thoughts. It's not too articulate compared to other Gundams, and it's not really, and it's just a high grade. But for me, it's very fun. It's fun to play with, fun to pose. It's kind of fun to pose him around carrying his Tommy gun. I like to call it Tommy gun, and it's nice to pose him with his buddies over here. So that's all. Hope you enjoyed the review.